keeper of the lantern, stone believer. It's a passion, and he knows it. He's a keeper, hanging wishes.
Well, I wrote that song, Who's the Keeper, almost immediately after the news about Ronnie dying. Kenny Jones actually called me to say Ronnie's gone, and you know, I was quite sort of affected by that, really, because he's such an unsung sort of hero, really. I think he was a great writer, I thought, Ronnie Lane, and I like what he kind of stood for as well, just that he fucked off all that sort of stardom with the Faces and wanted to go out and do his own thing, and you know, really went out on a limb doing his passing show and all that stuff. But you know, I just think he's also really underrated as a songwriter as well. Great lyricist, and his melodies were great. And so it's my tribute to him, really. And I kind of sort of cast him as a sort of almost like a sort of Don Quixote sort of character. You know, the knight in rusty armour and all that stuff. You know, and there's lots of references in the lyrics to his passing show thing and all that.
Sweet pea, my sweet pea.
Yeah, I mean all my kids, I guess, but it was, yeah, I kind of wrote about my daughter Leah, and just how she kind of made me feel. You know, she always used to make me feel happy, and she always had a smile, and yeah, that's it really. Father's love song to one of his kids.
So close your eyes and smile, your smiles of sweet dreams.
Well, we've done stuff similar to that before in the past, but it was different because, you know, I was working with Simon Dine on that track, and he's got a very sort of specific sort of sound, I think, he creates, and so I guess it was different from that point of view. I think it was the first thing we'd done together. So, no, you know, I'd worked with samples and stuff beforehand, you know, I'd done that before, but it was different working with him. I think he brought something else to it, you know. Yeah, I mean, I think the track just sort of dictates that anyway, just the mood of it. You know, as soon as you hear those trumpets, you're kind of in there.
And we are, we're driven by the rain to hell.
Well, I did the covers album because I was going through a patch where I wasn't writing at all, and I wasn't really asked about it either. I didn't really care whether I wrote again or not at the time, anyway. But I also wanted to make a record, and I'd never done a covers album before, you know. At first I was going to do all the usual thing of picking my favourite songs and all that, and then I thought of a different approach of trying to pick songs I didn't know that well and weren't particularly my favourites, but I just thought I could do something with them, have a bit more kind of artistic licence to do something else with them. So that's how it came about, really. Just yeah, trying to pick things I wasn't that familiar with, you know. And I think Wish on a Star came out really well, I thought. And there's a couple of tunes on that covers album. Literally only a couple, but there's a couple that sound all right on it. But you know, more than anything else, I had fun making that record, you know. And I also learned to sort of sing on that record as well, I think. Kind of changed my vocal approach. And I didn't have that pressure of, because it wasn't my songs, it was kind of a little bit more flexible in some ways, really. Just to sort of, you know, it doesn't matter, let's just see what we can do with it. There's no point in me trying to do a version of Waterloo Sunset or something, you know, it's just utterly pointless, or a Beatles song or something, so try to take a different approach to it, really.
Just think of all the moments that we spent.
From the floorboards up, it was, you know, on a good night when we're playing live on tour, on a good night, you know, we'd all sort of come off, and me and Whitey would always say, when it was really special, it was like there was this sort of power surge that sort of come underneath your feet, and it sort of rose up from the stage and out through you into the audience. So it came from that, really, from the floorboards up, you know, the energy comes from the floorboards up and out of you. So it was really, I suppose, a song about that, you know, about playing live, really. And also playing all these old, well, we play all sorts of venues, but you know, playing some of the old sort of places, like for instance, like a Newcastle City Hall, where I was imagining all the kind of bands that have played there and all that energy from the audience and the music, and you know, that it's got to sort of go somewhere. You know, it doesn't just dissipate, so it must kind of soak into the walls and the chairs and into the atmosphere in general. And it came out of a period when I did the covers album, you know, like I said, I wasn't really writing at the time. And I hadn't written anything for like probably a good sort of 18 months, something like that. And then all of a sudden, you know, just kind of all these songs started coming out, you know. And we ended up recording like sort of 19 songs or something like that from the album that it's from. And it was kind of like a new creative sort of lease of life, really. Sort of out of nothing, you know, all these songs started to appear. Like a new kind of found energy, really. It was really quick, yeah. I mean, we played a gig in Glasgow, and I went back to the hotel room, and I wrote the song that night. And then the next day we cut a little demo. We had a little small tape recorder thing in one of the dressing rooms, and we all got together and we just sort of kind of jammed it out and recorded it. And I think like sort of maybe 2 nights later we put it in the set, I think.
When we dance, we dance, we dance,